Good morning. I am finding myself alone this morning. My sister-in-law came and took the girls to do some things, and I just finished doing some morning chores and just wanted to take a moment to reintroduce myself for those of you who are new to the Cancer Journey posts, and new to hearing about Tim and his journey and his recent passing. I've had some interesting comments kind of questioning why I've chosen to be so transparent, and in such a vulnerable time for someone, why would I air that publicly for others to see, and some kind of suggesting that maybe I've taken advantage of his willingness to have me post by posting moments related to his passing. If you have questions like that, I just want to assure you that he consented every step of the way to me posting, and he really wanted this journey to be shared for a variety of reasons. Tim suffered from chronic pain long before he was diagnosed. He had something that's probably referred to as smoldering myeloma, but it wasn't diagnosed, and then he really started to go downhill during COVID. And then shortly after COVID, COVID was still around, but he sought out help through alternative practitioners, through urgent care, through the ear, nose, and throat clinic, and just wasn't getting the help that he needed until they did a full lab workup, and that's when the multiple myeloma was discovered, and it was discovered at end stage when he was already in kidney failure. The irony of my husband's diagnosis is that multiple myeloma can be caused by it's caused by a genetic mutation. He had 2 genetic mutations that caused his particular rare case of multiple myeloma. And his doctor said that there's about 90 people on the planet that had his particular type of multiple myeloma that was extremely poorly responsive to medications. And so he just wanted some of his own journey to be useful to others, to maybe save them from some of the pain that he experienced. And for one of the nurse practitioners near the end, she said, or when he was finally diagnosed, said, "Don't stop looking until you find the answers that match the experience that you're having. Keep looking and find that practitioner that's going to help you get the help." And she said, "I'm not leaving this office today until we have lab results, and I'll be in touch." And so, true to her word, she stayed there until the end of the day, and then she called both Tim and I and said, "They're waiting for you in the ER. We want you to go in immediately." And the experience that I had and Tim had on some level, while the news was horrifying, there was also a huge sense of relief, because this silent struggle that he had been experiencing for so long suddenly had a name for it. The name was multiple myeloma. The name was multiple myeloma with kidney failure. For me, light bulbs started to go on in that moment. I'm also a climate activist and coach. And something that occurred to me as we were going through his initial stages of the cancer journey is that climate change is not a whole lot different from cancer. And it's this sort of pervasive problem that is affecting things on levels that just feel like, breakdown and decay and decline, but we don't really know why. And it's temperatures rising here, erratic weather patterns in other places, species dying off in all over the place. you know, we're experiencing these symptoms, and until we start to really understand like what the numbers mean and what the numbers are telling us about what's happening on our planet, it's really hard to wrap our heads around it. And I think when we call it something, you know, we call it climate change, we call it environmental breakdown, we then can start looking at solutions. And for Tim, you know, a lot of those solutions, because of the state he was in when he was diagnosed, those solutions were really aggressive. And they gave him 21 months of life left. During those 21 months, we didn't know how long he had, but we knew that he probably didn't have a lot of time. We really chose to walk that journey consciously. We chose to walk it with gratitude for every second that we had. We chose to make the most out of it. We chose to learn from it. For myself, as an occupational therapist and somebody who's working in the arena of climate action in the healthcare arena, I just allowed my eyes to be open to really the inside workings of our healthcare system and the amount of waste that we produce and the uphill battle it is to try to get that under control. And I had just come on the coattails of COVID and seeing the amount of waste that we produced, you know, just trying to keep people safe, just trying to stop the spread of infection. And so my posts I'm not here saying I have answers to these things, but really to just turn a light bulb on and shed light on a situation. And for me, it was kind of a weaving together of this experience of watching my husband deal with a nameless pain in his body that was creating a slow, gradual decay and causing breakdown in the fabric of our family. Because like every week or month, it was like there was something else that was going on in his body, and our attention was drawn to that. But we wanted to like, okay, let's get you fixed so we can move on, so we can go after all of these things that we want to do on our farm, and so that we can give our girls opportunities that we want to give them. And it felt like 2 steps forward, 3 steps back, you know, 1 step forward, 2 steps back. And for me, during the midst of that time when we didn't have a name for it, I felt like I was crazy sometimes, because I'm watching him struggle, but he really struggled knowing how to ask for help. He felt like he should just be able to get over it. Whatever this was going on in his body was like, why do I have a weird body that has aches and pains all the time, and other people seem to be doing just fine? And so once we had a name, once we saw the numbers, it was just like, wow, the picture is so much more clear now. What's going on? And these numbers are telling a story that tell us we need to take action now. Our planet is telling us that same story. Our planet is telling us that we need to take action now. And there are a lot of people doing amazing research that are telling us the kind of action that we need to take. And it doesn't require that. I think the first place to start is really kind of stopping and assessing how we show up now, right now, in this moment in our lives. And not in a shaming, blaming, go down the toilet with the things that you see, but really just be aware. And then from there, be aware of what are the things that you can begin to change today, this week, this month, this year. Or do you need to pick up a book and learn about it to better understand what's going on? Do you need to watch videos on it to make sense of it for yourself? Cancer is running rampant on our planet. The number one population of people that's being affected by cancer is the under 50 population. My husband was 47 when he was diagnosed. Yeah, he would have turned 50 this summer, and it's heartbreaking that he didn't make it to 50. But he fought it with everything that he could to the very end, and he wanted for others to learn from what he was going through. He wanted for there to be awareness around the fact that, you know, this was an old man's disease, and a diagnosis that usually is given to men when they're much older, to people when they're much older. But now it's affecting people in his age range, and even younger. So I think one of the things that I've discovered as my husband has been going through this is just the sheer numbers of people who are being diagnosed with cancer. Tim's physician felt very strongly that it was probably exposure to chemicals in his early 20s. Things that he used to spray golf courses with that caused his genetic mutation. He said it takes years to actually, you know, create the kind of condition that Tim was experiencing near the end. But yeah, you know, we can't trash things and poison things without there being some kind of consequence to it. And I think we're all living in the midst of that consequence. And it's heartbreaking for all of us. And I share our journey, not because I want to say like, woe is us and look at the shitty life that we have. Look at the hard experience that we have. We are but one family of many, many, many families around our globe who are going through this. And Tim was but one patient. But our experience, because it is shared by so many, I wanted to just shed light on it so that for people who want to know, for people who are thinking along these lines and want to explore it more deeply, you have the chance to do that with me and with us. I've also worn the hat of priest and minister, and have taught many of people practices in mindfulness and meditation and prayer, and I lean hard on those. I've leaned hard on those these past 21 months, and I will continue to lean on those. They've been an anchor for us, and I really don't believe that this is the end for us. I believe that we go on in another form and another type of existence beyond this realm. But I believe that we need to care for everything in this realm. This is the realm that we were born into, and it's on us to care for it. It's on us to care for it for the many who will be coming after us. And I think that every action that we take matters. Even if that action is our attitude in the midst of a hard moment, we can be jackasses to each other, and we can feel justified in doing so, and we can rant and rave and throw ourselves about and kick and scream, and sometimes it feels like there's a time and a place for that, but I find for myself that reaching deeply or looking broadly to see the silver lining is what helps me move through those moments. It's what helps me help my family move through those moments. And so because of the hats that I've worn, I feel an obligation to share openly about that in the event that you might benefit from it. So I don't feel that I need to apologize for my transparency around this process. It is something that we've decided on as a family, our girls as well. I've asked them repeatedly along the way if it's okay for me to share some of the things that I share, and they've assured me that it is. My youngest daughter said, Mom, it's actually really helpful to me. She said, you don't know it, but I actually go back and listen to those, and you kind of fill in things that I didn't know about or I didn't take the time to listen to say. I'm happy to say that on this side of things, our girls are doing well. They are incredibly resilient. They have huge dips into the realm of grief, but they bounce out of it. And I think that it would be abnormal if they didn't have those moments. So we ride them out, and we just hold each other in those moments until it passes. And last night, my youngest daughter and I were home alone, and one of the things that we haven't been able to do for a long time is make a whole lot of noise in the house, because the light chains really impacted the parietal bones and caused a lot of auditory sensitivity for Tim. So we had to be quite quiet in our home. He slept in the basement, so we kind of felt like walking on eggshells across the floor, and this happened for many, many months and even years prior to his diagnosis. So for a long time, we've kind of felt like we were walking around on eggshells in our home. So last night, we cranked some of his favorite music, and Emma went and grabbed the scooter from the garage, and we were rolling around the hardwood floors like the girls did when they were little, on the scooter, and running and sliding across the floor and jumping up and down. And we knew Tim was like celebrating with us and enjoying this moment with us. And then someone delivered some pizzas to us. I don't know who that was, but thank you so much. We put one of those in the oven, and it was just an incredible, loving, beautiful moment to share in together. And I'm not sure where that is in terms of bereavement work, but it worked for us. And so those are some of the reasons that I share the way that I do, and that Timmy has agreed to sharing. My girls have been watching me do climate work for quite some time, and they consented because they felt like if this is helpful to anyone, then do it. So there you have it. If you've been following our journey throughout, thank you so very much. If you're new to our journey, I really appreciate you for popping on here. I hope that our posts are helpful. One of these days I'll get around to making a trailer. But for the time being, this is who I am, and this is our journey, and just sending you a whole lot of peace and love from the state of Wisconsin. If you're navigating cancer as well, then Godspeed to you. Peace.